Senator Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr President. My question is to the Minister for Defence, Senator Johnston. Can the minister update the Senate on the support Defence has provided to Operation Bring Them Home, the whole-of-government response to the tragic loss of Malaysian Airlines flight MH17 over the Ukraine?
The Minister for Defence, Minister Johnston.
Thank you, Mr President, and I thank Senator Reynolds for her question. On July 18, Malaysian Airlines flight MH17 travelling from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur crashed in circumstances indicative of being shot down by an SA-11 surface-to-air missile in the Ukraine near Donetsk, close to the Russian border. There were 298 people on board that aircraft, including 38 Australian citizens and residents. I know I speak, Mr President, on behalf of all senators when I say that our collective hearts went out to and continue to go out to the families of the passengers that perished in that atrocious act, an act that shocked the world. On 21 July this year, the United Nations Security Council voted unanimously to support Australia's resolution for a full and independent investigation into the MH17 disaster. And I pause to thank Foreign Minister Julie Bishop for the decisive and quick action she took to secure that resolution. Ukrainian authorities agreed, along with the Australian and other countries whose nationals were the victims, that all remains of those victims be repatriated from Kharkiv in Ukraine to the Netherlands and then brought home to their grieving families. The repatriation from the Ukraine was completed a week ago on August 19. The departure of personnel supporting Operation Bring Them Home from the Netherlands is now in its final completion phase. 2 air movement personnel will remain in the Netherlands for a few further days, and 1 liaison officer will remain indefinitely with the Netherlands Ministry of Defence.
Thank you, Senator Johnston. Senator Reynolds, a supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. Will the minister advise the Senate what Australian Defence Force assets and personnel were deployed as part of Operation Bring Them Home?
Minister.
Thank you, Senator. Defence resources assigned to this operation involved some 280 defence personnel, as well as 2 RAAF C-17 Globemaster aircraft with planning and support staff operating from the Eindhoven Air Base in the Netherlands. A 3rd C-17 Globemaster and a KC-30 A330 aircraft multi-role tanker transport flew logistic flights to and from Eindhoven. However, they were not force assigned as such. Defence planning and liaison staff also worked with their Dutch and Malaysian partners in The Hague. Defence liaison communication support staff supported the international mission in the Ukraine. A 7-person strategic aeromedical evacuation team and a 7-person surgical team were integrated with Dutch forces. Defence also pre-positioned personnel in Europe with our Dutch partners in the Netherlands to ensure that we were postured for a range of contingencies on the ground in the Ukraine.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr President. Will the minister further advise the Senate how Australian Defence Force personnel contributed to the repatriation of the victims of flight MH17 from the Netherlands?
Minister.
President, I'd like to pay tribute to all of the defence personnel who took part in this very sombre and important repatriation ceremony for the victims. In the words of Flight Lieutenant David White, the first phase of getting the bodies from the train cargo area at Kharkiv to the Eindhoven military base was more than a transitional moment that eased the images of the disgraceful looting and disrespect of the passenger remains to that of a dignified welcome. Many families of victims who attended the 4 ceremonies on the tarmac came on board to meet the Australian flight crews to see the place where their loved ones briefly lay. I want to thank our flight crews on behalf of all Australians for their unending compassion and absolute professionalism in this difficult task. This could not have been an easy task. There were 80 children on board the aircraft, and many of our personnel are themselves, in fact, parents. We expect great things from our personnel, Mr President, but I think we need at times to pause and appreciate the enormity of the tasks we often set them. I thank them all.